You call your dog, and they don't ignore you straight away. They hesitate, just for a second, like something interrupted the automatic response they used to have. It's subtle enough that most people brush it off, because the dog still listens eventually. But that small delay is not random, and it's not about distraction. It's the first visible sign that your dog has started evaluating you instead of automatically following. At this stage, everything still feels normal, because your dog responds most of the time and nothing seems broken yet. But what's changed is not the behavior, it's the decision-making behind it. Your dog is no longer reacting instantly, they're choosing when to respond. And once that shift begins, it doesn't stay contained to one moment. Watch what happens the next time you give the same command in a slightly different situation, maybe outside, maybe with a small distraction nearby. The command is the same, your tone is the same, but the response is slower. That difference is not about the environment. It's about how your dog now weighs your signal against everything else. This is where ignoring actually begins, not when your dog refuses, but when your dog starts comparing. Before, your signal came first without question. Now, it competes. And competition always creates delay. You'll start noticing it in small ways, like when your dog looks away for a split second before responding. Or when they take a step in another direction before coming back to you. These moments feel harmless, but they're not. They're the early stages of selective attention. Selective attention means your dog is deciding what matters most in that moment, and that decision is based on past patterns. If your signal has not been consistent, it loses weight. Not completely, but enough to create hesitation. And hesitation is what slowly turns into ignoring. Now something else changes, and this is where most owners miss it completely. Your dog still listens instantly sometimes, especially in easy situations, so it feels inconsistent. But inconsistency is the signal. It tells you your dog is no longer responding automatically. This is the shift from reaction to evaluation, and it's one of the most important turning points in behavior. Because once your dog starts evaluating, every command becomes a choice. And choice introduces delay every time. Another moment to watch is when your dog responds faster to the environment than to you. A sound, a movement, another person, these pull their attention immediately. But your command takes a second longer. That gap is not random. It means your signal is no longer the strongest one in the moment. Something else has taken priority. And once priority shifts, responsiveness follows. This doesn't happen because your dog stopped caring about you. It happens because your signal stopped being the most reliable reference point. Dogs don't follow authority in the way people think, they follow consistency. And consistency is what builds automatic response. When that consistency weakens, even slightly, your dog adapts. They don't resist, they adjust. And that adjustment always starts with hesitation before it becomes ignoring. Now the pattern becomes clearer. Commands that used to be instant now have a delay built into them. Not every time, but often enough that you feel it. That feeling is the transition point. Most people react here by repeating the command, thinking the dog didn't hear them properly. But repeating doesn't fix the delay, it reinforces it. Because now your dog learns the first command doesn't matter as much as the second. That changes timing completely. Instead of responding immediately, your dog waits. Not because they're confused, but because they've learned that waiting works. And once waiting works, it becomes the default behavior. Now you're in a different phase, where your dog is no longer reacting, they're pacing their response. They decide when to move, when to listen, and when to delay. This is where ignoring becomes visible. But it didn't start here. It started much earlier, in those moments that didn't seem important. The small pauses. The slight delays. The tiny shifts in attention. Once those moments repeat enough times, they form a pattern your dog relies on. And that pattern becomes stronger than any single command. Because patterns are what dogs trust. This is why the behavior feels so stable once it sets in. Your dog is not randomly ignoring you, they are consistently responding to a system that allowed delay. And consistency always wins over intention. At this point, many owners try to fix it by increasing intensity, using a louder voice or more urgency. But urgency doesn't rebuild priority. It just adds pressure. And pressure without clarity creates more hesitation, not less. What actually needs to change is not the volume of the command, but the reliability of the signal. Because when a signal becomes predictable again, something shifts back. The evaluation disappears. And when evaluation disappears, response becomes automatic again. Not because the dog is forced, but because the system makes sense again. That's how responsiveness is built, and how it's rebuilt. The key thing to understand is that ignoring is not a sudden behavior. It's the end result of small changes that started much earlier than most people realize. And if you can see where it started, you can change where it goes. Because the moment your signal becomes clear, consistent, and reliable again, your dog stops comparing and starts responding.